How's it going, everybody? Today I am back with another mock draft. This will be my final mock draft prior to the draft tomorrow night. I will be doing some trades as well in this video. I have a couple lined up. Nothing too crazy. They're all realistic. They might be a little bit controversial, but without further ado, let's get into it. And I believe the obvious answer here is Caleb Williams. I would be very surprised if the Bears decided to go a different direction. It'd be pretty funny though if they were just fooling everybody and really didn't want Caleb Williams. But it will be Caleb Williams, number one. Number two, I have Jaden Daniels. I think this is what will happen. Personally, I think Drake May is the better quarterback prospect. I think he will have the better NFL career. That could age poorly, but I believe Drake May is the better quarterback. So with that being said, I have him going number 3 to the Patriots. Obviously, they've been entertaining some trade offers, but I think they should go quarterback here. Obviously, they traded Mac Jones. So if you really want to roll Bailey Zappi, go for it. But I think Drake May should be the guy there with a weaker draft class next year. So then at number 4, this is actually where I have my first trade. This definitely could be Marvin Harrison for the Cardinals, and I think some people probably believe that's what it should be. And as you'll see here, I'm only going to be trading picks in the first round, even though that's not what would happen. That's what I'm doing here, just for the sake of the video. But obviously, I think the Cardinals could use Marvin Harrison. Be a very good pickup for them. They built their franchise on a wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. They could do it again with Marvin Harrison Jr. However, Jim Irsay, Colts owner, has been talking about trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think it would be a cool idea. Obviously, Marvin Harrison, his dad, played for the Colts. So it would be cool to see Marvin Harrison Jr. play for the Colts, where his dad played. I don't know how realistic exactly this is, but it does sound like Jim Irsay really wants to do this. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Now, I feel like maybe if they were to trade up, it would be probably more likely to be with the Patriots. But in this scenario, I have the Patriots taking Drake May. So that means the Cardinals slide down to 15, and then we got the Chargers here. I have another trade, and I feel like this one's a little bit more obvious. I have the Chargers making a deal with the Vikings. And again, this one I am going to send both of those. So, okay, well, let me try that one more time. There we go. All right. I love how they do that with this system here, but anyway. We've got quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, headed to the Vikings at number 5. As a Packers fan, I honestly don't really like this. People can hate on J.J. McCarthy all they want, but I honestly think he's a good quarterback. And I think he'll be very good, sustainable NFL quarterback for the future. I think he will be a top end quarterback. Now, do I think he's going to be Patrick Mahomes? No. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He is a very solid with good arm talent, and I think that he has the potential to be a very good quarterback. And people always point out, well, he didn't do anything at Michigan. And you're right, but when you have the best running game in the country, you don't really need to rely on your quarterback. So, I think it's a little bit unfair to hate on J.J. McCarthy. I understand the concerns, but I think J.J. McCarthy will be a good quarterback, so he's going number 5 to the Vikings. And then now to number 6. The Giants obviously have entertained the possibility of trading up for a quarterback, but with the top 4 guys off the board, I'm going to have them taking Malik Nabers. They need a lot of help, obviously. You don't really know if Daniel Jones is your guy, which is still crazy that they paid him that huge contract. They lost Saquon. They need a playmaker. So Malik Nabers to the Giants. Then at number 7, it's always been a tackle for me, other than Brock Bowers. But I'm going to go Joe Alt. They need help up front, and Joe Alt is your franchise left tackle. He's that Joe Thomas type guy. And then here's where I have the first defensive player going. Now, obviously, you could go wide receiver here with Rome Odunze. You also could go Brock Bowers, pair him with Kyle Pitts, but I don't think that's necessary. They could go tackle, but again, I think they should probably go defense, and Dallas Turner's got to be that guy. I think he'll be the first defensive guy off the board, whether it's 8 to the Falcons or 9 to the Bears, but Dallas Turner's a very good edge rusher, and I think he can really help out that Falcons defense. So then with the Bears at 9, with Dallas Turner off the board, you could go Brock Bowers, pair him with Cole Kmet, but I'm going to go Rome Odunze. Obviously, draft Caleb Williams number 1, but you lose Darnell Mooney free agency. You don't really need Rome Odunze, but I mean, obviously he's going to be nice to have. You traded for Keenan Allen, you got DJ Moore, so the Bears' offense honestly could be very good. But anyway, on to number 10. I've got the Jets taking Brock Bowers. This obviously could be a tackle. Some would argue it probably should be. However, they did sign some guys. They got Tyron Smith. So I think Brock Bowers makes a lot of sense here. And there was some rumors about it. They also mentioned that they would rather draft a wide receiver. However, those top 3 guys are off the board. So I think Brock Bowers would be a perfect fit in that offense. You got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Pair Brock Bowers with Aaron Rodgers, and I think you can have a very dynamic offense in New York. And then now on to the Chargers at 11. Obviously, this was the trade with the Colts. So, actually, that was not the trade with the Colts. That was the trade with the Vikings. But I think this will be a wide receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. He's ranked pretty low in here, but I think he's a very good player, very good wide receiver, and he should be that 4th guy off the board. So I have him going at 11 to the Chargers. They get their wide receiver, even though they did pass. Well, okay, I do believe that they would probably end up with Marvin Harrison at 5 if the Cardinals don't take him and the Colts don't trade up. So if you're the Chargers, obviously you'd prefer probably Marvin Harrison at 5, but in this scenario, you get picks 11 and 23, and you're going to take Brian Thomas at 11. He can pair with Quentin Johnston, pair with Justin Herbert, form a good offense. Now, the only concern for me is I don't know how much the Chargers are going to throw the ball. You know, you got Jim Harbaugh, who obviously in Michigan, all they did was run the ball. So I don't know if that's going to hurt his development. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I do think Brian Thomas Jr. is a very good player, and I guess we'll have to see how he pans out if he ends up in Los Angeles. And then we've got another quarterback going off the board here at 12. I have Bo Nix. A lot of people probably prefer Michael Penix, and that's fair. But I like Bo Nix a lot better, specifically injuries. Now, I believe Bo Nix did have some injury issues at Auburn, but I guess Michael Penix also hasn't really dealt with those injuries since his time at Indiana. But I like Bo Nix. I like his potential. Michael Penix is a good player too. I actually have him headed to the Raiders at 13. But basically, I think that I'm going strictly based off of what I've been hearing, and I believe Sean Payton prefers Bo Nix. So I have obviously they did trade for Zach Wilson, but he's not going to be your starting quarterback. I don't believe he may be early in the season he'll start, or late in the season if a rookie doesn't play well. But I think he's more of a guy to see if you can develop him. If you can, cool. If you can't, then he's gone. But I think they'll draft a quarterback. So you get Bo Nix at 12, and then the Raiders go with Michael Penix at 13. The Raiders honestly aren't that far away from contention. Obviously, they kind of showed it at the end of the year. with Antonio Pierce. And now with a full season, bringing a new quarterback, and you get Devontae Adams, Michael Penix can throw the ball. Devontae should be happy. Obviously, you did lose Josh Jacobs, but I still think that offense should be very good with Michael Penix. So I think Michael Penix is a very good option here at 13. Then the Raiders. This is going to be a tackle, and it's going to be Olu Fashanu. He falls to 14. He could easily go top 10, but just with all the trades, the quarterbacks going high, I think some guys are going to fall. And I think Olu Fashanu could be a very good player for them, obviously with Ryan Ramczyk's injury issues. So I think he would be a good fit for the Saints at 14. And then the Cardinals at 15. I have them taking Terrion Arnold. This is obviously the Colts trade. I think the Cardinals have a lot of holes, honestly. So I think they could probably go any direction here. But I really like Terrion Arnold. I think he's the best corner in the draft. So I think you get him at 15. You can start building some pillars on defense. Their defense is terrible. So you got to get some guys to build on. Terrion Arnold can be that guy. Then 16, I've got the Seahawks taking Troy Futanu. There he is. Very good tackle out of Washington. Keep him in state. Just a perfect fit there, honestly. I believe they're going to want to keep that run game going with Kenneth Walker. Their O-line's not great. Just got to fill out that O-line. I think Futanu could be a very good tackle in the NFL. And I think he goes 16 to the Seahawks. Then 17, I've got the Jaguars taking Quinion Mitchell, who I believe could challenge Terrion Arnold for that number one corner spot in this class. However, I have him being the second corner off the board. As a Packer fan, I would love Quinion Mitchell to fall to the Packers, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I would be very surprised if it did. Maybe the Packers trade up for him, but on this scenario, I don't think the Packers will move up. So I have him going 17 to the Jaguars, pairing with Tyson Campbell. Then the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson actually just requested a trade prior to this video. So I was thinking about maybe just picking his replacement, and I'm going to go with Leatu Latu. Obviously, he has had some injury issues so far. He could be question mark. He's a very talented guy, though, when he's on the field. So I think teams are going to pick him for his potential. I think he could be an impact player right away still, but I think teams are going to be a little bit hesitant due to his injury problems. So I think he'd be a good fit, though, with the Bengals. And then the Rams. The Rams lost Aaron Donald. So they're going to need a replacement up the middle. So I think Johnny Newton, Jerzon Newton, would be a very good fit to replace him there at 19. Obviously, you're not going to be able to replace him exactly, but you can try to. You can get some guys to fill in there. You got Kobe Turner, great pick last year, so you just need to fill in some holes there defensively, and I think Jerzon Newton would be a good fit there at 19. Then the Steelers at 20. I have them taking J.C. Latham, tackle out of Bama. Their roster's not terrible, but they've got some holes for sure. I think J.C. Latham would be a good fit for their O-line. You got Broderick Jones on one side. Now you can fill the other side with J.C. Latham. Try and keep Russell Wilson upright. And that offense could be very good. So you get J.C. Latham in there, and he can be a pillar for your offensive line for years to come. Then the Dolphins at 21. This could obviously be a tackle here, but they did lose Christian Wilkins in free agency. So I'm going to go with Byron Murphy. I think he would be a very good fit up the middle. Again, you're not going to be able to replace Christian Wilkins necessarily, but you can try and fill his role. So Byron Murphy, very good player. He can develop into a beast on the defensive line. Like I mentioned, they could have gone tackle here. Tylese Fuaga's fallen a little bit here, but I think maybe that defense is probably going to be the bigger need with the guys they lost. So I think they go Byron Murphy there. And then the Eagles at 22, I have them taking Nate Wiggins. Only the third corner to go so far, I believe. He's obviously he could be the number one corner in the class. I know I said Terrion Arnold. I know I said Quinion Mitchell, but he has the potential to be that. I don't think he is, but he has the potential to be that. He did get injured at the combine. Um, he'll be fine. He's a very good player. Get him in Philly. They've got some guys at DB he can help develop there. The reason I am going corner, it might not seem like their biggest need, but James Bradbury, Darius Slay, they're old. So they're not going to be around for much longer. Maybe. I mean, I think Darius Slay's upper 30s, mid 30s, so like maybe 33, 34. But anyway, they're getting up there in age, so you want to prepare for the future a little bit. Get Nate Wiggins, very good corner. Then you go 23, Chargers, second pick in the Vikings trade. And I have them taking a tackle by the name of Tylese Fuaga. Like I mentioned, he fell a little bit in this class. Um, it is what it is. I think he could obviously be, he might be better than J.C. Latham. However, I think Tylese Fuaga is a very good run blocker, and I think this would be a perfect fit for the Chargers. They get their tackle, they get their receiver, two positions they could have gone at 5. Maybe not the best at each position, but you get Tylese Fuaga at 23. He's going to fit well in that Jim Harbaugh scheme. So I think this is a very good pick for the Chargers at 23. Then the Cowboys at 24, I have going with Amarius Mims. Another guy who's had some injury issues, but I think he'll be a very good fit to probably replace Tyron Smith. Hopefully he doesn't necessarily continue the career path of Tyron Smith. Now, yeah, Tyron Smith is a very good player when healthy, but keyword is when healthy. He has also had some injury issues. So you could just be drafting Tyron Smith 2.0. But I think it's worth the risk, I guess. But yeah, I have the Cowboys going with Amarius Mims. Now my Packers at 25. There's a couple different ways they could go. Specifically Cooper DeJean, Graham Barton, Kool-Aid McKinstry. As a Packers fan, I would be happy with any 3 of those. However, I am going to go with Cooper DeJean. I think he is probably the best fit for the Packers in this draft class. He's a very versatile guy. Can play corner, can play safety, can return punts for you. I do think he'll be a safety in the NFL, even though he's played mostly corner in college. You compare him with Xavier McKinney, and I believe the Packers will have a very good defense. Graham Barton would also make sense. Obviously, you lose John Runyon. He could probably come in and start at right guard for you, or left guard, depending on where they put Elton Jenkins. But yeah, I think I would be happy with Graham Barton or Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I think Cooper DeJean is the best fit here. So yeah, then at 26, I have the Buccaneers taking Jared Verse, who also fell a little bit down the board, but he gets to stay in state with the Buccaneers. They could use some help on the edge. They cut Shaq Barrett. He could be your replacement for him there. Then at 27, the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals taking Chop Robinson, Penn State. Chop Robinson's very interesting prospect. I think he'll be very good in the NFL. Like I mentioned, they need some pillars on defense. He could also be one of those pillars. They just need to get talent on defense. So I think this will certainly help them out defensively, and yeah, should help them out very well. Bills 28. I've got them taking Xavier Worthy. I believe I did that as well last time, and obviously he had that record combine. Very fast. They move on from Stephon Diggs. They lose Gabe Davis in free agency. So Curtis Samuel is your number one wide receiver right now, and while that might not be the worst thing, you get a guy like Xavier Worthy who can fly, and then you got the arm strength of Josh Allen. I mean, basically be Madden on rookie mode. Now, personally, I don't think the Bills are going to be great. I still think they'll probably make the playoffs, but Xavier Worthy would be big help for that offense. Um, and now with the Lions at 29, I have them taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. It kind of sucks seeing him end up with the Lions, division rival, but I think they definitely need some DB help. Their DBs were not great last year. You get a very good corner who can come in and be a number one guy, honestly. You can match up a number one wide receiver. Really help out that defense. Then the Ravens at 30, I have them taking Graham Barton. Probably could have gone Jackson Powers Johnson, but I like Graham Barton. He could play center. He'll probably play guard though. He'd be very good help on that offensive line. Protect Lamar Jackson. And then at 31, I have the 49ers taking Tyler Guyton. They could use some help up front. I think he would be a very good help there. And just keep Brock Purdy healthy. I think if you can keep Brock Purdy healthy, keep your guys healthy, I think that offense will have no problem. Their defense obviously won't have much of a problem either. But trying to get over the hump. I think Tyler Guyton would be a good fit for them there. And then at 32, I have Adonai Mitchell headed to the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they managed to win the Super Bowl even without much help at wide receiver. But you get a guy like Adonai Mitchell in there, and Chiefs could go on another run, win another Super Bowl. As an NFL fan, I wouldn't really want to see that. As a Packers fan, I wouldn't want to see that. But, it is what it is. I think he's a good fit for them at 32. And with that said, that will wrap up my mock draft. If you want to take a look at it, scroll down a little bit real quick. Overall, I think this is a very good class. Obviously, second round will probably be very top heavy. It's a very deep class, in my opinion. Obviously, you got a couple trades in here. Marvin Harrison at 4, J.J. McCarthy at 5. Some bold trades. I think the J.J. McCarthy one will happen. Whether that be with the Chargers at 4, Chargers at 5, or the Cardinals at 4. I do think someone will trade up from J.J. McCarthy. And if they don't, he'll end up probably going number 6 to the Giants. Alright, well that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed, share the video with your friends, drop a like down below, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And I plan on making some sort of post-draft video, some sort of recap, as well as some Brewers videos in the future. So if you're interested in that, subscribe. And until next time, go Pack Go.